Senator Lindsey Graham. Well, he's been hitting the campaign trail with Georgia Senate hopeful Herschel Walker. And on Wednesday, the two gentlemen, they did a joint appearance on Sean Hannity's show. And while trying to prove that the GOP isn't racist, well, Graham managed to employ a racist trope, commonly known as tokenism.
What is it about this guy? He changes the entire narrative of the left. We're a party of racists, Sean. Me and you're a racist. The Republican Party's racist. Well, what happens when the Republican Party elects and nominates Herschel Walker, an African-American black Heisman Trophy winner, right? Olympian? It destroys the whole narrative. John James, Tim Scott, Herschel Walker. Everybody in San Francisco is going to jump off a bridge if we elect this man. A black conservative beats a black liberal in Georgia. They're scared to death of Herschel Walker because if Herschel Walker becomes a Republican, maybe every other young child in America of color might want to be a Republican.
Yeah, so after that embarrassing stunt, Graham seemed to think he had hit it out of the ballpark, and he thought it was a good idea to go ahead and echo the same argument again to a crowd earlier today.
So focused on Herschel. They're afraid of Herschel Walker. Because if Herschel Walker wins, that means we're not racist. And if you're a Republican, aren't you being tired of being called a racist all the time by everybody? Here's what liberals fear the most: a strong, confident black man being a Republican in Washington.
Utter joke. No one's afraid of Herschel Walker other than a fetus. But we need to talk about this larger framework. The fact is that this is a politician's version of I have a black friend. And this whole uplifting black faces to really further the GOP's agenda, well, it doesn't make the party's policies and practices any less racist. And it's kind of a friendly reminder that a lot of people forget is that racism doesn't have to be intentional, and it often is not, because the intent does not matter when the impact is burdening marginalized groups. Like, for example, there in South Carolina where Graham reigns, well, the state has this new congressional map that's unconstitutional as far as I'm concerned in terms of diluting the power of the black vote, giving the GOP a 6-to-1 advantage. So Graham can't really go around here flaunting Walker as this example of a post-racial political GOP when really the impact of what's going on and the GOP's actions tells us that the GOP does not want equality. Cenk?
Yeah, so I mean, that first clip was unbelievable. It's so on the nose. He's like pointing at him. This is our token. We are going to pretend that we're not racist because we have put up this guy right next to me. Look, he's black and he's willing to say whatever we tell him to say, as long as we work it out for him and he's taken care of. Okay, so you see that? Go ahead. Hey, go ahead, puppet. Say what we told you to say. And by the way, what does Herschel Walker say? He says the same thing white racists say. Oh, the problem is black culture and the black dads are not around. And then, oops, we found out that it's not black culture at all. It's him. He was projecting all of his vices and all of his problems onto other black people. And why do you think the Republicans picked him? That's exactly why they picked him. They're like, oh, you're gonna blame all black people for a thing they didn't do, but you did. Oh, we love that. What is that? That's literally racism. And so I know it hurts their feelings. I know it does. And so they're like, why don't you just let us say terrible things about black people? We just want to think it. Come on, you know how they are and their culture is, and you know that they're not around, and you know how they are. You're not getting it. That's the definition of racism. You're just not getting it. And you think, hey, listen, I can say all these terrible things, and I could hire Herschel Walker to say them for me. So I mean, it's kind of a political blackface, right? Here, like Lindsey Graham's putting Herschel Walker in front of him and saying, okay, now look at what the black guy is saying, okay? And guys, that doesn't absolve you, it only makes it worse. And they say all of these awful things about black folks. And then when you say, hey, that's racist, they go, whoa, 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 you're hurting my feelings. What about the feelings of the other people that you label and stereotype and say all these horrible things about? No, your feelings don't count. Only right-wing white feelings in the South count. It's absurd. And then one more thing about this. So they do voter purges in Georgia. Brian Kemp's famous for that. He did it before the first Stacey Abrams race. They're still doing it, and it mainly targets minorities and especially African Americans. And they go, yeah, I know we're taking your voting rights away, but we got a black guy to do it for us. That doesn't make it better, man. It just doesn't. I know you want to feel better about it, but no, sorry, no deal. And Herschel Walker just sitting there, taking it and saying, oh yeah. It's just, I don't want to say anymore. It's just disgusting.
Absolutely. And the thing is, he's not very far off from Kanye. He's just a puppet of the system. And the thing is it's not just Graham out there of the GOP. Republicans are often out here trying to use black conservatives as props really to advance their agenda. And one of the obvious examples that we have is from 2016 when Donald Trump literally referred to a supporter as my African American.
We had a case where we had an African American guy who was a fan of mine. Great fan, great guy. In fact, I want to find out what's going on with him. You know what I'm, look at my African American over here. Look at him.
Utterly disgusting. Well, that black man that was being referred to there, his name is Gregory Cheadle. He's since left the Republican Party. Here he is in 2020 explaining his reasoning.
What have you seen since Trump's become president? What has changed your mind about him and about the party?
Well, I mean, he and the party have just shown that they have no interest in any other group but whites. You know, whites are the primary group. Everyone else may get crumbs, but his whole agenda is targeted toward benefiting whites, and that for the GOP as well.
Yeah, I don't know how this came to this sudden epiphany as opposed to just decades on decades of the legacy of the GOP, but hey, to each his own. I do find it very ironic how the GOP often will denounce any kind of use or reference of race, but then all the while you have Republicans like Trump and Graham and others out there who clearly are using race for their political gain. It just, we get to clearly see who these people are and it's disgusting. Cenk.
Yeah, look, it wasn't a gaffe. He said, that's my African American. And he said, oh I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way. He never apologized for it. He never explained it. He just figured, hey, you're mine, okay? And I've got one. There he is, my African American, right? It turns out he wasn't his African American, as you just saw. And I think there used to be like black businessmen, et cetera, that were Republicans. And when I was growing up, and that, look, you could argue that they were wrong back then, right? You could argue I was wrong back then. But now, as this gentleman is saying, there's no subtlety left. You know, there's no, hey, I'm economically conservative. Hey, I'm this or I'm that. No, they're just flat out came out of the racist closet and they're over the top with it. So if you're still in that group, all right. I mean, hey, everybody makes their choices. I hope you can live with yourself. But for the rest of us, the people that live in the real world, reality-based world, none of this works. It only makes it worse. And their policies are the same exact way and discriminatory against African Americans. And it doesn't matter if they got a guy who's black to say it for them. And I'll end on this, Adrian. Look, you guys have seen them do this on Fox News. You've seen the Republican Party do this for decades. They will pick one guy from each race, then they'll pick a woman, and they will have that person speak out against their own group. It's almost like hostage videos, except to be fair, they pay well, right? So it's the oldest trick in the book. If any, pro right-wing Israeli advocates will always bring on some Muslim guy to go, Israel is right, Palestinians and Muslims are overly violent, it's their fault, it's their religion's fault, they deserve it, right? And then they go, what, a Muslim said it. I mean, it's just the oldest trick in the book. And so if you're still falling for that trick, you kind of want to fall for it. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, we really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.